Very good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Barigi. Today is the 31st of October and of course we are just winding up the month. Hope you had a great weekend. I officially welcome you. That's from the weekend. It was really quite very insightful, quite a lot of activities. And of course now it's another money-making week. And of course I hope you're ready to pursue this new move. And of course as we are getting straight into the next month regarding that particular aspect. And don't forget, channel 394, that's on Go TV, and channel 372 on DSTV. And of course, we shall be delivering to you as we deliver to you the top business stories all over the world and also locally. And of course, Zabu just made your trading experience much more easier as you just dial *292#, as you will be availed with quite a variety of options at whatever part of the country you will be at. As a trader out there, you will be in position to participate in buying securities at Altex, as you can do something new for yourself. The markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. that's East African time, and they close at exactly at 3:15 p.m. that's still East African time. Do something new for yourself. Zabu just made your trading experience much more easier. All right, now away from that, I officially welcome you to this segment of the news recap. This time around, we go through the previous news stories we are talking about Friday that are making headlines in the world of business on Smart Men's Business. And of course, as we keep bringing you those particular reports this morning, and maybe what we should expect this morning, just to give you a brief highlight, we shall review something on the second annual East African Court. That's Judicial Conference. Then we shall come down to hospitality in international business. Then we shall also review a report regarding the Uganda Registration that's Services Bureau looking at counterfeit products. Then we shall wind up with a report regarding the state of insurance companies that's in Uganda. Okay, now away from that, let's get straight to the very first report. And this time around, we are looking at the second, of course, annual East African Court Judicial Conference, where President Yoweri Museveni called for a common continental market that will be very beneficial to the development of Africa's economy. Let's have the details. I'll be returning with the highlight.
The East African Court of Justice Conference has just ended today, and it was graced by the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Among the key points he said was the economic transformation of not only Africa, but also Uganda as a whole.
What I want from East Africa, first and foremost, is a market. To buy my milk, buy my beef, buy my bananas, buy my whatever I'm saying. The market, integrating the market. Then we can add other things, slowly, but carefully. So I'm therefore very happy that you came for these seminars. These seminars will help us to discuss. I hear that Africans spend a lot of time watching football of European clubs. I've never watched. Somebody asked me, which club do you support? Clubs.
President Museveni, speaking at the conclusion of the 3-day second annual East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference, did not waste time in asking where African economists are to help the continent grow.
Are there professors of economics in Africa? If they are there, why don't they see this? Even if the politicians didn't see it, but at least the scholars should see it and talk about it. Europe was not transformed by politicians. Adam Smith was not a politician. I don't think Adam Smith stood for elections anywhere. He was a scholar. He saw. Maynard Keynes, he was not a politician. These were scholars. Ricardo, these were not politicians. So expecting politicians, you know what happened with politicians.
At the same event, the East African Community's Secretary General, Dr. Peter Mathuki,
requested the East African Community Court of Justice to assist in resolving trade disputes among the East African Community member states.
By the extension of the mandate of the TORs of the East African Court of Justice has been extended to deal with trade issues. And therefore, I urge the judicial fraternity to help us come up with very direct and practical alternative ways of resolving disputes that will make sure that our prosperity in the region grows, but also to increase the trade volumes.
Excellency, under the theme Transforming Access to Justice in the EAC, as we make strides to integration, we need to ensure systematic and coordinated dispensation of justice at both the national and regional levels. It's our obligation under Article 126 to enhance cooperation in legal and judicial matters through harmonization of legal trainings and certification, standardization of judgments of courts, and publication of full reports for jurisprudential purposes.
The second annual East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference kicked off on Wednesday in Uganda, with speakers calling for increased access to justice in the East African region and beyond. Speaking when she officially opened the three-day conference, the Uganda's first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, hailed the East African Community Judicial Court, saying that the court has since its inception done a recommendable job in passing judgments that have impacted human rights, jurisprudence with the region and beyond, as well as strengthening the community.
His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, that's the President of Uganda, advocated for the establishment of an intercontinental that's common market to improve Africa's economy. And of course, these remarks were made on the final day of the second annual East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference. And this time around, we are talking the second East African Court Judicial Conference, and that's where those matters were being aired out by the President of Uganda. Okay, now away from that, let's head to hospitality. And this time around, we are looking at hospitality in international business. And this time around, we are looking at the aspect of putting up professionalism as to why these tourists, when they come into this country, they always prefer staying into the best accommodation facilities. And this, and this time around, we are looking at what other qualifications to ensure that actually your facility can't really accommodate these tourists. Let's have the details.
The hotels will be divided into 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1-star hotel quality categories. But achieving the desired rating is no simple task. The tourism industry's key component is 5-star hotels. Additionally, they enhance the whole tourism experience by providing high-quality facilities and services. The tourism industry and the hospitality industry go hand in hand.
Tourism contributes about 7.9% of our GDP, and of that, 8.9% is our contribution also in terms to employment. Really, as hotels, one of the things I'm most proud of is that we are the second biggest employer of women, second to agriculture. 58% of all our staff are women, and we are also a very big employer of young people. 77% of all our staff are aged between the ages of 18 and 30.
Nearly 80% of hotel visitors arrive for work-related reasons. Hotels must provide business centers with access to desktop computers, printers, scanners, and even photocopiers for them. The following features are required for one to have a global brand.
What it takes for one to be a 5-star hotel, different things. So number one is the location of the hotel. That really factors a lot into whether one is a 5-star or not. The amenities at the hotel: do you have swimming pool? Do you have gardens? How big are your conference halls? How educated are your staff? How many have degrees? How many have diplomas?
The hotel can contributing like 50% of tourism can contribute in cultural wise, visiting to the country and earning the economy to go up. That's what it contributes.
Uganda offers hotels in every category, ranging from 5 stars to 1 star. The 5-star hotels are establishments that provide extremely high levels of luxury and lodging to their visitors. Although there isn't a set ranking system for hotels, establishments that reach or go beyond even the greatest standards for comfort, design, and elegancy are given the distinction of a 5-star rating.
We had the COVID-19 pandemic, which completely floored us. We closed our businesses for 2 years. Just as we reopened in December, now we have had this Ebola outbreak, which is also really hitting us hard. We are having many cancellations. We are having people, blacklisting us from coming into our country. And all this, unfortunately, takes a long time before you can actually rebuild your reputation, before people can feel safe enough. With even Ebola, it's a lot worse because with COVID, it was worldwide, so there was no stigma for our country. Ebola is just us. So there's a lot of stigma incoming here. You are seeing all this news on all the international press, CNN, BBC, people talking about how it has now reached Kampala. Is there going to be a lockdown? Is there not going to be a lockdown?
Apparently, we as Ugandans need to embrace the holiday culture. For this supports our hotel sector, which helps boost the tourism sector, for it contributes a lot of GDP to our country. Meanwhile, hotels are not that expensive. There is market for everyone.
In order that's to accommodate the increasing number of tourists coming into Uganda, and of course as well as to make their stay comfortable and wonderful, quick development is being made of lodging, of course facilities put there, right there. The majority of these foreign visitors stay in favor. Of course, they prefer staying in the 5-star hotels, and of course in order to qualify, of course a hotel must have certain amenities regarding what is really necessary. Remember, some of these people come from the different countries and they're not on the same development as Uganda is. So that's very important as you are establishing your accommodation facilities, as you try to be to that ultimate standard, because some of them can be quite a little bit judgmental regarding that. And of course, the first impression they get when they get into the country like Uganda and they don't get the best, definitely that will forever be the picture they will portray out there, and that really affects the industry at large in Uganda. So it's very important to always ensure that you do your best, you sacrifice. It's about sacrifice, actually. That's the right word to put. Sometimes not that you really have it all, but you have to sacrifice to keep the image of the business. It's not about a short-term benefit, but this is a long-term benefit right there. Okay. Now, away from that, let's head to the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. This time around, we are looking at the new regulations that have been put in place to get rid of counterfeit products. Let's have the details.
To remember, buyers are not interested in you, they're interested in the product.
The conversation intended to close the gap between individuals who are impacted by or have an impact on the counterfeit space, while raising awareness and strengthening government agencies' capabilities in the battle against fake agricultural imports. It draws a sizable participation of farmer groups from all across the nation, including policymakers and representatives from the state agencies, among others, whose presence was crucial for debating the pertinent topics.
Government has set up a policy and legal framework to support the fight against counterfeits because of the corrosive effect of counterfeit products, not only against public health, food security, but also you're looking at security itself. The shadow businesses that support illegal activities and criminal enterprise are mainly funded through counterfeiting. So one of the institutions set up as the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, which has a mandate to enforce the law against counterfeiting, which is comprised in the trademarks laws that we have now.
We believe that we need not to leave the problem to government. We as consumers, we are also a public resource. If we the consumers do not provide a market for counterfeits, there will be no counterfeits on the market. But because we are providing a market for counterfeits, then we are making it very expensive to chase around for these counterfeiters, to arrest them, to prosecute them. Let us just stop buying counterfeits and there will be no counterfeits on the market. So it is a very big problem that cannot be solved by one agency. It cannot be solved by UNBS alone, or URSB, or Uganda Police, or Judiciary. It is a problem that has got to be handled collectively by all of us.
The discussion also enlightened the participants on the significance of registering intellectual property in the area of agri-inputs in order to provide them the knowledge they need to identify counterfeit goods on the market and reduce ignorance of the relevant laws among the current and previous victims, particularly in the agriculture sector.
The most counterfeited product outside there were seeds. 53% of the respondents said it was seeds. That means 5 in 10 we are finding fakes. The next most counterfeited were pesticides, and the answer was given by about 24% of the respondents. So I will say every 2 out of 10 was finding a fake pesticide when they bought.
Whenever they take our inputs like seeds, definitely it goes back down there, and it normally creates a bad name, especially to our company. Definitely, that's why we are here in this training with all these stakeholders, that with the intellectual properties and with the URSB, we are able to really register our companies and try to fight these very, very counterfeits. So mainly, people are not aware. Sensitization needs to be done among all the stakeholders, right away from the farmers themselves, to know how to identify the right product on the market.
The conversation provided a focal point for upcoming trainings, workshops, and media campaigns designed to educate the public about intellectual property laws and rights, as well as raising awareness that battling counterfeit goods is a shared responsibility among the local governments, law enforcement, and the judiciary.
A very interesting insight right there regarding, of course, the new regulations by the Uganda Registration Services Bureau regarding counterfeit. And of course, according to what majority of the people are facing, we see that agribusiness is highly affected, just as the different participants regarding that conference were expressing their views regarding that. And of course, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau and the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa have put up new regulations into place that's to monitor and get rid of fake items from the local market. And of course, as one of the campaigns utilized in form of sensitize the public, the two agencies sponsored the establishment of the agro-input dealers' intellectual property and also learning and networking a dialogue at the same time. So that's something very remarkable, and the fact that the agro-input dealers were very key, since they are the most victims of encountering counterfeit products right there. So it makes it very relevant for them to be a part of this dialogue. Okay, now we come to the end of our business report this morning, and we come to take a look at an insight on the state of insurance that's in Uganda. As we know that insurance penetration rate has remained under 1%, and the Insurance Training College, in collaboration with other accountable stakeholders, held a conference with the goal of covering the market gaps within the sector, and also to enable the industry players to adjust their general outlook and understanding of the insurance market in order to come up with the potential solutions. Let's have the details.
The insurance sector has continued to grow positively over the first half of the year, highlighting the sector's fortitude in the face of weakening macroeconomic conditions and a decreasing economy. According to the information made public by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda, the gross written premiums for the sector increased from 600.105 billion in the second quarter of 2021 to 711.63 billion shillings in the second quarter of 2022. This was an increase of 18.58% compared to the reporting period.
I would like to urge you, all of you, to support the insurance sector. Not many people appreciate the role of insurance. You must continue doing awareness creation. Make the Africans appreciate that insurance is important, is valuable. Many of them look at it as an unnecessary cost. Most of the people pay third party because it is compulsory. The law requires everyone who has a car or a motorcycle to purchase the third-party insurance.
The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic spread to many areas of the economy, including the insurance business. However, this had little impact on the industry's development trend of future projections.
Despite the disruptions that we faced, you realize that the industry has continued to be resilient. I think one of the most adaptable sectors has been the insurance sector. Indeed, we have not seen a drop in our performance. The growth was slightly affected, but we continue to have a positive growth in the industry despite the impact of COVID. I think it was an opportunity for us as insurers to reinvent ourselves and come up with better ways of doing business. You will agree with me that ever since COVID hit, we have more products now coming up. Today you can now get third party on your phone, which was not the case then. So we have seen a growth, we have seen coming of new products on the market, and I think there were opportunities for us to pick from the disruption that came up.
It's significant to stress that the business nevertheless fulfills its duty to settle legitimate claims. According to the annual report for 2021 published by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, claim settlement has increased over time despite the difficulties encountered when paying back, as there should be a guarantee that the claim is payable.
We at IRA have established the Complaints Management Bureau. The Complaints Management Bureau is a bureau that was set up to receive and resolve insurance complaints. That Complaints Bureau receives complaints and then is able to take the policyholder and insurance company through a dispute resolution method that then enables us to give you resolutions to those complaints. So that Complaints Bureau is available to the public. You can go to our website and access the section for the Complaints Bureau and file your complaints. If you feel that an insurer has delayed to pay your claim, let us know at IRA so that we assist you to resolve it.
Uganda's insurance sector has grown tremendously over the years, evidenced by the increase in gross written premium from 406.8 billion shillings in 2013 to 165 billion shillings in 2020. The industry further posted 912 billion in the gross written premiums for the third quarter of 2021, basing on the recent report from the Insurance Regulatory Authority.
And we've come to the end of the SMB News Breakup this morning. And maybe just a brief highlight from where we started from. We reviewed an insight regarding the second annual East African Court Judicial Conference, where President Yoweri Museveni advocated for a common market being a very essential tool to the development of Africa's economy. Then we came down to understanding hospitality, and this time around looking at international business and what are the qualifications for your facility, for your accommodation facility, for it to be set to accommodate the foreign tourists. Then we came down to the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. This time around, we are looking at the new regulations put in place to get rid of fake products. That's on the local market in particular. And then we came down to the state of insurance companies. As we see, of course, the Insurance Training College, in collaboration with other accountable stakeholders, of organizing a conference to enable the industry players to adjust the general outlook and understanding of the insurance market and come up with the potential solutions regarding that business. Okay, now let's get into a short commercial break. We shall be returning with the press review. We come down to the international news and wind up top of the hour with the business tips and quotes. And of course, stick around. SMB returns. Good morning.